if you're an executive watching this, you know that people in your teams are using AI. The challenge is, how do you actually get them back into a safe way of using AI?
Hey everyone, I'm very glad to have Ian Gotts today with us. Ian is well known in the Salesforce circles, obviously, and is the CEO of Elements.cloud. Ian is talking about business use cases and ROI for Salesforce+AI. So Ian, can you tell our audience a little bit about what this session will cover?
Yes, I don't think the question for AI is, should we be doing it? I think it's pervasive. People will be actually implementing AI somewhere in their organization, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's a strong business case. I think proving to your management why you need to do it and having some simple steps to be able to build that business case and build the justification is one thing. The other side of things is actually showing that the risks are manageable. I mean, Salesforce is talking a lot about trust, as it should be, because I think there are huge concerns about, if you're putting data into AI, what's happening to it. So again, I think the challenges are not technical challenges, but they are more data challenges, and we need to make sure we get over those. So I think that's all part of building the business case. So I want to leave people, once they've listened to the session and the takeaway materials, they've actually got a step-by-step process that they can go through and build the business case, build the justification, and to be able to actually get started. I think the last and most important part of all of this is, if you're an executive watching this, you know that people in your teams are using AI. The challenge is, how do you actually get them back into a safe way of using AI? So some principles to get that business case and get them enrolled in the way that you want AI to be rolled out inside your organization.
That's a really good point. I think what I'm also seeing is that there is a significant amount of capital investment that may be needed, depending on the solution, the technology you choose. And a lot of customers have invested heavily in, data infrastructure, BI, things like that recently. So there is a bit of sensitivity around how much money do we spend and do we really get a return, or is this the next cool thing? So are you going to address some of those questions around hype versus reality, and how are we going to talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. And I think everyone can get excited about, ChatGPT wrote me a poem, it wrote me a song, but that's not really where we're trying to do in terms of those business use cases. And I think if we take those use cases down to sort of quite narrow, so you can actually see the real benefits. If you're a service agent, how can you actually make those service agents more effective? If you're in sales, how can you actually deliver a more effective, maybe emails back out to potential customers? We're not looking for like 5 million in savings. I think we can actually look for what are relatively small savings, which allow us to take the right level of investment. Because the other thing, AI is expanding it and changing all the time. So it is inevitable that we get whatever we choose now and however we implement it, that's going to have to evolve over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And therefore, we need to take some smaller steps in terms of the investment, but also make sure that those steps are tied to the investment, to the return that we're likely to get.
I think that's an excellent point. I'm seeing this with a lot of customers, the idea that, they want to start small with a few concrete use cases that they can build upon. And I think the days of just buying something massively large and going through like a boil the ocean type big bang approach is not that much involved anymore. And I think there is a deeper interest in making it very pragmatic, applying technology to solve meaningful problems. Like the call center is an excellent example where you can dramatically cut costs by making sure that the grunt work that, call center agents are doing, customer support reps are doing, your sales reps are doing, all of that is reduced. Salesforce published a number that 37% of a sales rep time is spent selling. Everything else that they're doing is not selling. They're probably entering data in all the proliferation of tools they have at their disposal. So I think this will be a great session.
Yeah, but also you need to bear in mind, you still need to put some core principles, infrastructure. I say principles. You need data governance. You need to make sure you have an AI trust layer. So some of those things need to be there as the foundations. So yes, you want to start small in terms of that ROI, but there actually is an upfront cost, and we need to make sure that we've put that into that business case to make sure that we are building on top of solid foundations rather than building on sand.
Absolutely. In fact, In one of our other sessions, which is on actually roadmap, we do talk about that, where it is like, how do you do a foundation and how do you really sort of scale from there and bring AI to the masses? So I think this session itself actually is a very foundational session for that very reason, no pun intended.
No, I think it'll be good. I think there's a vacuum in there in the marketplace because people are out there testing, playing, trying things. I think if you're the CIO or head of IT or even a sales leader or head of a service team, you must be concerned that your team are out there playing with it, potentially playing with your data inside those systems. And you need to get ahead of that to make sure that you get the benefits of AI, but you also have the security. And it's not just technical security, it's reputational risk, it is compliance risk, and then obviously it's data risk. And we need to make sure we got all those covered off at the same time as getting the benefits out of AI.
100% agreed. I mean, we operate in the data security, space and could not agree more. Like one of the things that we built at GPT-5 early on was a security layer. That was one of the first features we built in the product because that is the sword on which AI will die. Like I cannot think of another more, relevant risk for any business right now than the data and the potential of leakage and violation of privacy with AI. And any vendor that you're looking at, almost every vendor, including Salesforce, has been working really hard to make sure that that trust is safeguarded at all times.
I'm going to disagree. I think there's a bigger risk, which is, yes, you're using data from fields, but actually you're using the wrong data. So AI is making those decisions based on wrong data. Well, there is so much technical debt we see in orgs now. So once you put some governance and security that you've been talking about, you need to make sure you're putting it around the right fields that are actually being populated in the right way. And I think a lot of organizations have a challenge that there is so much technical debt. They need to get through that to work out how they can implement AI. And people always used to talk about, documentation and understanding the org and all those things. And yes, it was important. AI has just made that urgent. You can't get away with this now. There is no human who's going to go, oh, do you know what? That number's like 10% off. That seems a bit strange. Maybe we should look into it. AI doesn't care. It just goes, okay, well, I'll make decisions based on whatever numbers you've given me. So if for some reason the fields you picked are now being populated by another data source and you didn't realize, it's just going to keep on making decisions for you, but they may be 10% off. So again, we need to make sure we understand how the field's working, but then put the governance in place so people don't change them, but also have like the human in the loop to make sure that every so often we're validating that things aren't going awry and we haven't realized.
Very, very well put. I would agree 100%. I think AI is, unfortunately or fortunately today, AI is not a substitute for human intuition, experience, and nuances. If you feed it incorrect data, it will make mistakes faster than any human.
Well, that's what the A stands for. The A is not artificial. The A is augment. It augments intelligence. It makes the best things better. It makes the worst things worse. In fact, we talk about a different A. We talk about actionable intelligence. How can you actually do something useful with it? Which I think is what you've been talking about, which is, okay, how do I actually relatively easy, a relatively affordable cost, how can we start getting some genuine actions and some real benefits out of this? I think if we can get that out of the session, I think we all win.
Well, very well, sir. Well, looking forward to it and hope you all get a chance to join us in the session. It's on the 23rd of August and see you there. Check out for more details on enterprisedreamin.org. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.